Time now for the voice of the land on the Big Play Network with your hosts, Kevin Arnold and Always Positive Jay.
A lot to get into tonight. This is the Voiceland right here on the Big Play Network. Also partnered with LPV Productions and brought to you by Vector Technical. They'll get the right person in the right job the first time. More to come on them as the show goes along. But as I said, a lot to get into tonight. I got Always Positive Jay with me. I got the usual suspect on the other side of whatever screen that we're looking at when our guests come on. That is Peter Tellup, what Jarvis was to Iron Man Audio, the AI version of Peter Tellup Audio is to the voice of the land, and we want to welcome in our guest at this time. We are so honored and privileged to have Mecha Don on the show. You may have seen him on Twitter at Mecha Don Music on Twitter. Rapper, lawyer, football player, Ohio State lover, Columbus lover. Mecha, thank you so much for taking some time. I know that you're in the car. You had some noise going on in the house, taking some time in the car away from the kids to join us here tonight.
Sure, no problem. Thanks for having me, guys.
Now, I got to start with, because I follow you, so like all your tweets always come up, and I saw that you had visited with Gene Smith the other day along with Chris Carter, and then when his retirement announcement came out, it kind of took you by surprise. Was there not any single sort of indication as you guys were kind of talking on Monday that this could be coming out in the news?
It's crazy you asked me that question because Chris and I were talking this morning, and we were just talking, and literally as we were on the phone, the breaking news came in that Gene retired, and so we were both just on the phone, silent with each other for like 30 seconds, like what, like. But as we started to replay the conversation, Chris had asked him. I don't know if Chris had asked him a very specific question when we were meeting with him or if it just kind of came out. But Gene had said in this particular meeting that he had never said this to me or Chris before. He said that there are two things that he cared about as it pertained to Ohio State. One is that he wanted to leave the place better than he found it. And two, that he wanted to be missed when he left. And we didn't interpret that as like, oh, he's about to leave, right?
Yeah.
He's foreshadowing to you guys, huh?
Yeah, for sure. And we knew it would come one day, but it wasn't like we thought that was like, oh, it means he's going to leave. But as I look back on it, I was like, yeah, it's probably something that he had been reflecting on recently. And maybe that was kind of his subtle way of letting us know, like, listen, guys, it's almost over for me.
I think he wants you to take over, man. I think you can handle it.
Man,
well, I mean, what else don't you do?
Well, he can't back down from that because he tweeted, who's going to take over for Gene Smith? He quote tweeted our own Big Play teammate here, Chris McNeil, and he said, me. So you can't back down from that.
I know, right? I think sometimes people can't tell when I'm serious and when I'm joking. I mean, I think obviously it would be a fun thing to do, but I think that I was actually thinking about this the other day, like who really could do this job, because this job is much bigger than what people think. I think people, when they think about an athletic director for Ohio State, they talk about football and mostly in basketball, but you're talking about 36 sports at Ohio State, and what he and whoever comes to that job now will have to do to keep those sports afloat in this environment, this NIL environment, this revenue-based beast that we know as a college sport. Not to mention just the mentorship and the leadership institute that he started, and he's also seen. I'm just like, whoa, whoever comes in has some real big shoes to fill.
Yeah, and
I'm not ready for that.
What do you think will be Gene Smith's lasting legacy? For those that have not heard, if you have not heard today, Gene Smith does plan to retire basically at the end of this upcoming academic year. If you look at it like a school year, summer of 2024, he plans to retire. What would you say should be his lasting legacy, or that lasting image, memory of Gene Smith for the impact he had at Ohio State?
Yeah, so I think I liked how you phrased the question. You said should be. I think, but when you first started asking the question, you said what will it be? And I think what it will be is it really depends on who you ask. Mm-hmm. I've actually did some anecdotal research on this today, just looking at different posts and I think NBC4 posted something on Facebook, and I went and looked at some of their posts, and I was like, whoa. Some people were so happy, and I was just like, okay, that contingency is out there. And then I saw another post on LinkedIn, I guess a different type of crowd, and and everybody was like, "Oh my God, Gene, you're the greatest, and you're going to be missed." So I think it's really, and that's the type of thing that's hard about this type of job. It is political in nature, right? It's almost like asking what's the legacy of a president going to be. It's like of the United States. It really just depends on kind of who you ask, what their values are, what they care about. If you feel like he should have done something different with Jim Tressel, then maybe you hate him. You know what I mean? But if you're looking at it, there are a couple of different perspectives that I look at it. One as, him being an African-American man, one of the very few across the country to actually hold that type of position. And the fact that he's lasted, I think, 19, almost going to be 20 years by the time he's retired, through multiple different scandals with coaches, navigated the waters and of college sports and how it's forever changed and continued to grow and expand the university and the conference. And then you look around the landscape of college sports in particular, and you have real institutions like Stanford, for example, who are struggling to figure out what to do next with all this conference realignment. They literally, nobody wants them really, and they don't, as prestigious as they are. So it's kind of like understanding also that, like what he did to make sure the brand never faltered to a point where we became Michigan for what they had become until they beat us the last couple of years. You know what I mean? For what we became Florida State or one of these former powerhouses that's no longer that. That's not guaranteed. So for me, I think it's amazing leadership. Did we agree with every single thing that he did? No, but that's not really the point, right?
Who's going to get everything right?
That's human nature. That's human nature. We're all going to make mistakes. He's just on a higher platform. And it's interesting that you say those things because, no one's ever going to be perfect. But basically, he is, if you're going to look back at some of the scandals at Ohio State, I mean, what school in the big limelight has not had a scandal? And sometimes even getting around before NIL with some of these guys trying to find a way to make ends meet with just stipends and an academic scholarship. There's still things they need to purchase and all that type of stuff. I mean, these ADs are kind of from my eyes, they're kind of operating as if they have to look at themselves like a professional sports organization at the amateur level when you're at a big school like the Ohio State University. So I feel like he has navigated that well. And Mecca, I mean, you said Stanford. Stanford is, they don't know where to go, but everyone's looking at conference realignment like with just the football teams. They're not looking at all the other sports, and Stanford has been so successful in all the other sports. And I think a credit to Gene Smith, when I'm scrolling through Twitter, Ohio State athletics, they do a great job. And I know Gene Smith's probably behind it of highlighting how many great teams they have. And when teams are doing well outside of the football and the basketball, the ones that get the money grab and that type of stuff.
Spot on. And then also one other thing too, just, this is something that maybe people don't know, some of the things that he's actually done and implemented as it relates to NIL with the other sports, not the big high revenue sports, but developing programs for like a golfer to make money in their hometown, maybe put together a golf clinic in their hometown. Maybe they're not a hero at Ohio State's campus, but in their hometown they are. Putting things together like that, programs like that, to make sure that they're participating in this landscape as well. Those are the things that a lot of people don't know and that they don't talk about. Some people just frankly don't care about it, right? Which is fine too. But for me, those things are very, very important.
Now, you played at Ohio State, and I believe your last year is 2001.
Mm-hmm.
So you literally just missed out on the national championship, didn't you? That's got to be rough, right, man. I don't know. Like, you had fun. Like, don't get me wrong. You've got to play at Ohio State. But, like, I was actually living in South Florida when we won, right in the Florida Keys. Yeah. And all I had to hear about for months on end is how they're just going to destroy us. And rightfully so, they could talk because that team was a damn super team.
Yeah.
What are your...
I think...
Like...
Yeah, so it's crazy. So it's done for a little bit. But honestly, I'm very honest with my career. I only played football 1 year in high school, and I came in as a preferred walk-on. I had a full academic scholarship to Ohio State. I could have gone other places in smaller schools, not like big schools, and played. But I really came to Ohio State for the experience and for the network. I knew I was never going to necessarily touch the field, and that wasn't really the point for it for me. So that being said, even if I had made it that far along, I wouldn't have played. It'd been cool to be on the field and stuff like that, but it wasn't. I was just happy for the guys because I knew obviously a lot of the guys, and for a lot of them, a lot of my teammates, that was their dream. These are kids that have been playing football since they're 8 years old. You know what I mean? It's kind of like the thing that they had always dreamed about. So I was able to kind of reconcile it ultimately that way. I mean, yeah, it would have been cool. Obviously, we know that, but I was really happy for the guys, especially.
Yeah, I had to ask because one of my best friends, he went to OSU right at the same time you did, and he literally graduated your year. And he's like, man, of course, they'll win the national championship after I leave school. I'm like, hey, man, that's your luck, bro. I don't know what to tell you. I was having fun razzing all the Florida people down there. But, I mean, like you said, you're having conversations with the great Chris Carter, who's like one of my all-time greats. And I'm over here listening to you talk about having conversations, jealous. I'm like, man, this dude, he's just talking to Chris Carter on his phone. Like, you can't beat that. That's what you get when you play at Ohio State. That network is huge. Even if it's not sports, it's anything.
Yeah, we're just building our network now, Jay.
Yeah.
Like, Mecca's got a much bigger network already than us.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I think you're spot on with that. Like, so quick story on Chris. So Chris and I are actually business partners now, and full time. And what's amazing about that is, like I said, I was a walk-on. I was the lowest on the team. You know what I mean? Like I wasn't.
You were a soccer player, weren't you?
Yeah, I was.
Kevin is the soccer player here.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. Yeah. So like, that network and kind of that fraternity that you come into, some people will treat you like the walk-on forever, right? But most guys don't. And Chris and I, we're not even anywhere close to the same generation or whatever. So I didn't know him when I was there, and I didn't really kind of meet him until much later on, just when I was doing like some of the Jew stuff and some of the other stuff with Ohio State. But even then, we didn't know each other that well. But I'm gonna tell you a quick story. So last year, I was in Dubai with my family, visiting. We did like a couple of different things. We've been out there a couple of times, and we have some connections out there. So we go. I think that was my third time going, and I posted on Twitter that I was in Dubai, and Chris sees it, and he sends me a message and said, "Oh my gosh, I'm going to be in Dubai tomorrow." What? Like, can I curse on the show, by the way, or no? I'm like, what the heck? How is that possible? It's not even like I said, like London, like Dubai. You're going to be in Dubai tomorrow at the same time. So he's like, yeah, I'm hosting a wealth management conference. I want you to come as my guest. Meet some people, stuff like that. So I was like, all right, cool. So literally the very next day, and for the next like 2 or 3 days after that, I was with him and his brother, and they started telling me everything that they were doing, and he was transitioning out of TV into a lot of other things in business. But before I left there, he was like, look, I need you to be my business partner. And I was like, all right, and I was like, well, let's see what that looks like. Because, I've been an entrepreneur since 2007. I worked at a big law firm when I graduated, and then I left, and I've been on my own. I've done different things, but I've never actually worked officially like with somebody like that.
Oh, I read your wiki, dude. Like, it'd be easier to tell you what you didn't do.
Yeah.
Than tell you what you did do.
What don't you do? Yeah. It's really the main question. That's what we've been building to this whole time, Mecca. What don't you do?
Well, I don't get scared easily. I'll tell you that. That's one thing I don't do. So I'll definitely try new things, and I think that's kind of how I got. But anyway, long story short, that's how that relationship developed. But again, back to the original part of the conversation, which was ultimately the network at Ohio State was what really kind of made it come full circle, And so this is 20-something years later, and it's still showing its face. So yes, spot on point there with the network thing.
And speaking of Chris Carter, I know you got a chance to be down in Canton during Hall of Fame weekend. What was that experience like? And what were you guys, of course, as business partners, I'm sure you guys were able to kind of network with some other people down there. What was that whole experience like? Because just from TV, it looks prestigious, but being there has to be a whole different animal, different experience.
Yeah, it's amazing, man. So last year was the first year I got to go with him. And now it's just going to be an annual thing. Because yes, we're business partners, but we're also friends. We get along really, really well. So we just go and hang out. And there are different events there. So they have like, the official ceremony, they have a dinner, they have a party, a private party at the hotel. They won't even let hotel guests come in the lobby, people who are staying there for their party. Yeah, it's nuts like that. Like, so you go in there and it's every Hall of Famer that you could imagine, like last year, LT, Jerry Rice, just hanging out with these guys. It's crazy. Emmitt Smith, Warren Sapp. So we're, a lot of times, even in the downtime, there's the hotel, the DoubleTree, and there's like camps of people outside, adults mostly, who with helmets and cards just waiting for them to come out of the hotel, praying that somebody will stop and sign stuff. So it's but to get in that hotel, you can't even just get in. But on downtime, it will just be all chilling there, like sitting there, Bruce Smith, John Randall, just cracking. It's crazy. Like for me, I don't want to say I don't feel like something I'll ever get used to, right? Because that's like not the right terminology. But I think obviously I'm comfortable in that environment. I've been around people like that for a while, but sometimes I still do pinch myself and be like, "Holy shit!" I was just talking to Bruce Smith for 10 minutes, and I remember growing up and watching him in awe. I remember I had Jerry Rice on my wall. I had Lawrence Taylor on my wall, and literally, I have pictures of it from when I was 10. And I'm literally sitting there talking to them. They're talking to me like I'm a real human being. I'm like, holy, like, where am I? So there's a little bit of that. And then Saturday night, we went to Darrelle Revis's. So they have like the induction. And then Saturday night for the new guys who get inducted, most of them have their own kind of private party somewhere else in the city. So Darrelle Revis had his and I had known him from New York when I lived in New York. I actually used to do parties with Darrelle. So just coincidentally, we ended up going to his party, which was like a country club. And that was awesome. And then Rondé Barber had a party that we didn't make it over to, but like CeeLo Green performed, and I think Russ, if I'm not mistaken, performed. So it's fun. It's a whole weekend of fun. There's not a ton of business getting done. It's really just networking, mingling, and having fun.
Is there anything you can tell us that you're willing to share or are able to share about Darrelle Revis's party? I only ask that because being in the industry, and of course we have Joe Thomas, former Cleveland Brown, goes in the Hall of Fame, heard stories, and like he was doing a bunch of interviews and told the story about how they had a tattoo artist at his party, and his grandma, who they call Grandma Martini or Granny Martini because she loves martinis, with her medicine she should only be taking, I guess, like, only drinking like one martini. She had a few and then went and got a tattoo. What was Darrelle Revis's party like? Like,
so I don't have anything that cool, but I think so if Revis, he has Revis Island, which is his brand. So the way they actually did the party was they set it up like it was very Hawaii themed. So you walk in, you get one of those things they put across your neck. Like literally, you have like two women greeting you that put those things over your neck, right, as you walk in. So everybody gets that. And then they had a full performance with a whole like Hawaiian inspired dance, like 20 girls that were dancing, and then the guys who were from Hawaii, I found out later, doing the whole fire thing. And
that reminds me of SeaWorld. They used to have those dances all the time come out. I loved them, dude.
Right. Yeah. So that was cool. I don't have anything probably as cool as the story you told, but that was cool.
No,
so
granny's getting tattoos.
Hey, I'm only aggregating the story. I don't, I'm sure that there's plenty of stuff. A lot of those parties that people aren't, just stays where those parties are. Micah, we can't thank you enough for coming on. I gotta ask you before you get off. Well, two final things. I'm gonna let you plug your music at the end here because I've been listening to a few of your songs and that stuff kind of gets me hyped. But Ohio State football this year, new quarterback will be at the helm, whether it's Kyle McCord or who is it? Brown, I believe.
Devin Brown.
Yeah, Devin Brown. So prospects for this year when you're breaking in a new quarterback, but you have this talent on the outside, talent defensively, talent all over the place. Does this team finally take another step this year, and do they get this now stupid monkey of that team up north off their back?
Yeah. So I think, and I'd like to keep plugging Chris, but we were literally talking about this earlier today too. And I think this is where coaching really matters, right? A lot of people talk about talent and and obviously talent matters, but this is where coaching matters, because whether it's Devin or it's Kyle, this is a new guy who has not been in these situations before.
Yeah.
Right. And but you look back on Haskins, you look back on Justin Fields, you look back on Stroud. And I'm not saying that any of these guys are those guys, but they're all kind of coming into the same situation, didn't have much experience, came in, we didn't know what to think. And they got coached up really to all become first round picks. Right. So I think this is where, and these guys are all stud talents, highly recruited guys. It's not like these are just random dudes that were just like hoping Ryan Day can coach up.
Yeah.
So when I say it comes down to coaching, I think they're going to have to be some serious adjustments made to accommodate for the fact that these guys haven't played and they're inexperienced. So that means running the ball more, which I think a lot of Ohio State fans are going to want to see anyway. Right. I think that means putting them in, situations where they can get the ball out quick into their playmakers' hands and not having to, make big throws down the field, not getting them in third and long situations and stuff like that. Like really controlling and managing the game. We may win games 21-13 this year instead of 58 to 43.
Yeah.
But I do, obviously we have the personnel, including the quarterback position, to where we can beat anybody. If you look at Stetson Bennett or some other quarterbacks in Alabama that have won in the past, they weren't necessarily the greatest, but they still it reminds you that this is a very much of a team game. On the defensive side of the ball, I've been hearing good things about the D-line. I heard they're just nasty, and I've heard that there's a substantial improvement in the defensive backfield. And then our linebackers are also showing up too. And then we have some young guys that are Sonny Styles, CJ Hicks, these guys that are going to come in and be impact players. So I'm hopeful that our defense will also, take some of the load off of the offense that we didn't really see last couple of years. But yeah, we have the chance to be as good as anybody in this. Really it's going to come really at the end of the day, you're talking about the team up north and beyond, it's just going to be coaching.
Yeah.
We have the talent, we can win multiple different ways. But then it's going to come into in-game situations. What are we doing in those critical situations in the game, and how are we managing the game? Certain games, are we willing to adjust the style to the game that's being played? Or are we still going to try to fit a square peg into a round hole? Those are the things that remain to be seen. But I think we have a chance to be as good as anybody.
And I love that you brought up Stetson Bennett, because this is a guy that's he's not a first round NFL draft pick, but he was smart at the quarterback position to get the ball in the hands of the projected first.
Greg Krenzel won a national championship.
Yes.
He even made it a career in the NFL by just managing the game the correct way.
Yeah.
And sure.
And I'm not downplaying Stetson Bennett or anything like that, but a lot of these guys at Ohio State are being coached up to be first-round draft picks. But in order to win at the college level, you need that person to kind of bring it all together and get the ball in these playmakers' hands, lead this team. And if Kyle McCord or Devin Brown does that, I think that's what's going to be a big factor in this team going forward.
They'll have the weapons.
Yes, they will have the weapons.
Yeah. What I don't want, last thing on that, what I don't want, and I don't think this will happen, what I don't want is a 2 quarterback thing. I think we just
I can't stand it.
I hate that.
Yes.
If you got 2 quarterbacks, you ain't got no quarterbacks.
Yeah. That's exactly right. Well, Mecca, again, thank you so much for coming on. We always allow our guests at the end to plug away. I know that you got music out there, whatever you want. Who's ever watching right now, if people aren't following you, how they can follow you, get your music, or what they can do to connect with you, plug away, please.
Sure. Well, sure. So I have a new single called Carry It On in video that just was released last month. It's really a song about legacy and the importance of legacy. It's an anthem, but it also has a message to it, which is how I like to leave a lot of my music. So definitely check that out on Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube. Check out the video on YouTube. Across all platforms, we crossed 500,000 streams, views, and plays like last week, I think. So we had a billboard up in the city in Columbus, which was pretty cool. So definitely check that out, and then just hit me up on social media at Mecca Music, and let me know. I want to hear people's Buckeye takes and Browns takes also. I'm curious to see how people are feeling going into the season. And then the last thing is that Homage and I are talking about coming back, doing a juice shirt this year, or some type of bringing back juice for this year. So I want people to on social media let me know their thoughts about that too, what they think, if they think it makes sense, if they want to see it, if there's certain things they want to see. I'd love to hear from people on that too. So,
well, Mecca, this has been absolutely awesome, and we'd love to have you come on again, maybe during the football season at some point. Kind of get a little taste of what the Browns and the Buckeyes look like. So mid-season about, and kind of come on and give your thoughts so we can kind of bounce back and forth. We'll just bring you on and just bring you into the conversation instead of a interview type thing. Love to have you come on and be on the show again. And thank you so much for taking time here tonight.
Sure, no problem. Hit me up. Have a good one, guys.
All right, appreciate
you too.
it, man.
Thank you so much. That is Mechadon. You can follow him at Mechadon Music and get his music all across all those platforms. Of course, you can always listen to us on Google, Spotify, and Apple as well. It's a long segment. We got to hit a break.
It's a great segment.
We titled this show talking about Browns breaking news. We're going to get to that. Let's come back with a short segment. We'll do what I kind of mentioned for our ending segment and give a little bit more time for fun. We'll do that next. Get to the Browns at the top of the hour. This is the Voice of Land on the Big Play Network.
Whether you're looking to hire new talent or start a new career, Vector Technical has you covered. Vector Technical is a 28-year-old staffing firm that has helped thousands of job seekers advance in their career with reputable partners throughout Northeastern Ohio. Vector Technical is more than just a temp agency. With an above-average hire-in rate of 1 in 4 candidates, Vector works hard to connect the right person with the right opportunity the first time. Vector Technical hires for skilled manufacturing and light industrial work and is sure to have a career that you've been looking for. To learn more, visit our website at www.vectortechnicalinc.com.
Welcome back to the Voice of Land right here on the Big Play Network. Had a great time talking with Mechadon Music on social media. You can follow him, former Ohio State player, won a state championship in soccer and football. So the real football and the American style of football. He is an entrepreneur.
He's a footballer, man.
There really isn't anything he doesn't do. And that was an absolutely awesome segment. Now, speaking of the real football, I'm just going to get this out now because I feel like we need to dedicate the proper amount of time to the Browns. So this is going to be a short segment. I can let you guys react just to get back on time because we are always way off of any sort
No, never.
Luckily, we're not regulated by anything.
Yeah.
But yes, the women's soccer team, the U.S. women's team, bowed out at the same round as the men did. And I told you, Jay, I kind of teased you. No one else heard this, but I said, I need to come clean or correct myself for how I was thinking. No one heard what was going through my head when they first lost. We were texting a little bit, but no
You're
one
probably holding back.
Didn't really get to talk about it. Was I frustrated? Was I angry? Yes. Is it an absolute disappointment? Yes. And I think these players would tell you that. But I was really, really angry and frustrated and upset because the women's side, I've been campaigning, getting up on the platform for them to use what they do and the success that they've had to champion the sport of soccer, the sport that I absolutely love because they do it right. And we saw the exact opposite. I would say there was maybe sometimes a little too much focus on the suits that they were provided with by Nike, the pregame fit. They were a little bit more focused on that. TikTok, because they knew that they're such a dominant team. It never felt like they were trying to take things to that next level, knowing that, yes, we are good, but we have to go out there and prove it because teams are getting better. They didn't put their foot down and dominate like we all expect them to. But my frustrations really settled down when I saw a clip on Twitter. I hadn't seen the whole interview, but one of the U.S. women players that I know a lot of fans were missing from a lot of the injuries that they had, Tobin Heath, who was one of their midfielders. She's been doing a podcast throughout the World Cup, and she had on one of the players from Sweden, from the very team that knocked the U.S. out. And I can't remember her name right now. I'm not going to try to butcher a Swedish name, just like I wasn't going to butcher Mechadon's real full name. Like that would not be respectful.
I didn't want the challenge. I was
damn
good.
I told you we might try, but I decided against that very, very quickly. So I'm not going to try to pronounce her name, but she is a longstanding member of the Swedish national team. She's a captain of that team and came on the podcast and said, basically put everything in perspective. The reason why Sweden won, and you're seeing some of these other teams that weren't expected to do well in this tournament do well, is because of that U.S. women's team. and some of the players that are on there and the players that have come before them, because they have been the example to all other nations that want to continue to show that across the pond, soccer is still king, queen, whatever crown you want to put on it. That's our sport. And the U.S. is taking that from us. But also, they are doing things the right way. They're doing it so well. They are the role models. They are the example. So to hear that, it put things in perspective that, yes, I still reaffirm what I've always thought is that while I love both national teams, both sides of it, men's and women's, I've always liked the women's side more because of the fundamentals and the success that they have, but developing players the right way, and every new wave that never seems to be a drop off or anything like that. And that's what every other country is seeing, and that's what they're modeling themselves after. So the U.S. is still the pinnacle of the sport, and it's good that there's now more teams, more nations that are playing well, because you don't want what we used to see in the NCAA tournament for both the men's and women's side, where it was just the blue bloods, the big programs that won, and it was all chalk in the bracket. We love all the upsets, don't we? That's what makes March Madness. That's what you want to see at every other level, that everybody's play has been risen because of what the U.S. has put out there from the women's side of the game.
They did the exact same thing that Tiger Woods did. Before Tiger Woods, if you look at golfers, they weren't these workout machine people that were going and just working out all the time and constantly golfing. Like Tiger Woods, all these great golfers that he can't beat now, mainly because of other reasons, but early before injuries and all this craziness, all these great golfers have risen up because of Tiger Woods.
Yes.
The competition was brought up because of him. That's exactly what those girls did. And that's why I told you when I was watching the game along with you out somewhere else, but I told you I got real annoyed when people were just going after him. And I think a lot of it had to do, it's like their political side into it. And that's what happened. And
yeah.
They just were waiting to just come at him. And if you don't like him because of that, whatever. But don't sit there and say they were just a terrible team and a disgrace to this country. Because, like, dude, you won the last two. That is hard. Yeah. That is not common whatsoever in World Cup. It's never been three-peated ever in men's or women's, and it has been going on a long time. So that tells you when you're doing stuff like that and you two-peat, not only are you rising up the competition, they're all coming at you. You're the target. You're the one they want to take down. Every person you play, they know you're the best, so they have to bring above their best. They have to be 120% nonstop if you're going to beat the mighty U.S. women's team. And could they have done better themselves? Sure. Yeah. I'm not a soccer pro. That's your expertise. Yeah. I'm not going to come out here and try to break it down like that. But to sit there and some of these people that came after them, like, dude, come on, play some little respect. They were the 2-time winning champions. And I think they won one before that even, or maybe two. Like,
yeah,
I don't know. It was kind of the people over the hill, over the top.
Right. The people that get to be highly critical are people like Carly Lloyd that played for the team and still care about the team. When she says something and said and called out the team for having that draw in the final group game, and that's why they were in second place in their group instead of first. When she calls them out, it's not just because she wants to get on TV and use a platform just to have a hot take. That's not a hot take. That's a captain, a former captain, long-standing member, over 100 appearances for the U.S. women's national team, that still feels that in her bones, feels that connection to that team, wanting more and wanting what she is saying to get into the leadership within that team. And we saw a much better effort in the game. They just couldn't. The biggest issue coming into the tournament is what did them in. They just couldn't finish. And when you are a soccer team going through that, that is one of the harshest feelings ever. And to lose on PKs, that's harsh as well. But that's the way the sport is. Sweden made the ones they needed to. The U.S. missed on the ones they needed to make. And, hey, they're out of the World Cup, and now we're going to get a new World Cup champion. And I'm sure the scenes when that cup is lifted, when that trophy is lifted,
they're going to go crazy.
Look, I mean, yeah, they won. You said it best. They won the last two. And it's probably worth more, but to put it in perspective for other, novice sports, soccer fans or people that are learning the game right now, they're only playing this tournament every 4 years, and players are changing. A two-peat is at least worth a four-peat in the sports that we see right now, like back-to-back years. Back-to-back World Cups.
Oh, on top of the fact that we are transitioning because of this.
I'm shortchanging. I'm shortchanging that, but for argument's sake, at least worth a four-peat. So I just wanted to make sure I corrected myself. My thoughts, my inner voice is calm now.
You're
my
good.
outer voice is ready to talk more about the land. Be the voice of the land. And one thing we need to talk about in this town are the Cleveland Browns. Some breaking news just before we came on. I think you're better luck than Paulus was, because we'd always get the breaking news after the show, not before. So we get to talk about it. New defensive tackle in the team, and we got some word on who will play or who is looking to play. And we'll talk about it. But message is kind of flying through, so we'll just throwing us off. But
totally was a distraction. I was like, huh?
Yeah.
And then you looked, I was like,
I could see it, but like I was driving through it, and then when you started looking with that dumb face, like that's what threw me off. But we'll talk.
You're picking on me, huh?
Yeah.
I see how it is.
We'll talk Browns next, right here on the Voice of the Land on the Big Play Network.
Are you struggling to hire the right talent or maybe even find the right career? Vector Technical makes it easy. Since 1992, Vector has provided Ohio employers with a reliable process for hiring and have helped thousands of job seekers advance in their careers. Vector Technical is more than just a temp agency. We invest time to get to know each client and candidate personally. Vector places people in job opportunities that they are truly excited about. Interested in learning more? Visit our website at www.vectortechnicalinc.com to see a full list of our current job opportunities and to find out what Vector Technical can offer you.
Get your gear at voiceoftheland.com/shop.
Welcome back to the Voice Land right here on the Big Play Network. And I mean, we got to talk about the team that's the main team that's in town. I mean, it's a football town.
I'm representing both today.
I'm going to Hogwarts. So.
Hey, you're a wizard of what you do, bro.
Yes. I'm gonna steal that. But breaking news just before we came on: Browns, of course, dealing with some injuries along the defensive line. A couple defensive ends, Isaiah Thomas and Alex Wright, both undergoing arthroscopic knee surgery. Expect to be back early on in the season, but we know that that's especially up the middle, more defensive tackle than defensive end, like those two are. That was an area where this team was thin. And
if you watched last year, they were real thin.
Yes. Now the Browns signed Shelby Harris, who had played for the Seattle Seahawks, I believe, is the latest one. Yes, Seattle Seahawks.
He got to the Seahawks when they traded for Russell Wilson and all that package.
Yeah, from the Denver Broncos. And
he's a good player. Like, he is a solid player. I was ecstatic about the sign, not because he's going to be some Pro Bowler and make like 17 sacks. No, he's going to fill a much needed need, because I just don't think, is it Jordan Elliott that's starting right now?
Yeah.
And when you've seen him in that preseason game, he's the only starter playing, and he played a lot.
You're getting to my question for you guys.
All right.
And Peter, I want your thoughts on this too. Does this signing tell you more that this team is trying to plug holes from now injuries that they've seen in training camp? Or is it more a knock against some of the players they currently have on this roster, not the ones they brought in this offseason, but the ones that were still here, like Jordan Elliott and who's the guy
recently released guy we just had.
Who's the guy from Ohio State, though?
Oh, Tommy Togiai.
Yeah, Togiai, players like that we were left wanting a lot more from last year. Which one? This move tells you which. Trying to fill holes from injuries, or getting better because they don't like what's there. They don't like the depth that's there.
Well, I already hinted my answer, so we'll let Peter take this.
I think it's both. It's a little bit of both. I think using the injuries is is a good way to bring in pieces to fill holes with, where we have players that have not lived up to their expectations.
I think it would have happened no matter what. If those guys
You
didn't
really
get
do?
injured, I really think they still would have signed him. They brought him in before the two guys got hurt. And once, why can I not think of his name? The guy who went off and got in trouble, and then we had to kick him out.
Oh, Perrion Winfrey.
Perrion Winfrey, thank you.
was like-
I'm already forgetting the guy.
I'm like, I just
He's
saw
a moron and
it was like
deserves.
2 days ago when I saw
I know.
injury designation releases. I don't know these names. I've never seen these people in my life. Like,
Once that one nudged it, but
Yeah.
I think Schwartz is in here and he's like, these guys ain't gonna cut it as starters, like for what I want to do with my
Yeah.
defensive line. Like I need a legit starter. There's a guy out here, and I think they went and got him for Schwartz. To be honest to God.
well, and we talk about it all the time. Don't talk about it, be about it. And
Mhm.
if this is something that Jim Schwartz pushed for because what he is seeing, what he wants out of his defensive line and what's available to him, he's not getting. He can use some of those pieces as rotational, but he needs something else to really get accomplished what he wants to get accomplished along that defensive line. And we know how good his defensive lines have been as a defensive coordinator. Well, now that's a credit to him. That's something that even that's waiting for the season. I need them to prove it to me. I can get somewhat at least excited about if that's the case, because look, you brought this guy in to impact your team. You needed to change your defense. You needed to change the culture of your defense. And if he's already he's already having that kind of impact to bring players like this in, that a lot of people, as I scroll through Twitter and social media right now, absolutely loving the signing. If this is a Jim Schwartz, feather in his cap, okay, what are we going to see when this defense is really, really whole and out there and all the starters are actually playing? We're in preseason. We won't see that until Cincinnati.
And we're going to know.
And we will know at that point, because, hey,
if Joe Burrow even plays week 1, I hope he does. If I'm going to beat someone, I want to beat him at their best.
Yes. I definitely want Joe Burrow to play, and I'm only wishing him all the best in his recovery. But if his injury doesn't allow him to play week 1, and you're playing against a guy that
you should dominate him.
Cleveland teams always make the people we've never heard of look like absolute superstars.
I cannot have another
right.
Bailey Zappi. Is that his name?
Yes. Third string quarterback.
Bailey Zappi.
Yes. From
Joe
Western
Flacco.
Kentucky.
Marcus Mariota. We can't have these guys beating us.
The bad Joe Flacco. Let's put that on there. I mean, Joe Flacco beat us a lot, but that was when he was,
young,
Super Bowls and
20
stuff
years
like that.
ago.
But with the Jets, and you allow him to come back last year,
That killed me. That killed me. I can't. We got to move on.
Yeah, it won't mean as much, but at least if they dominate a quarterback that they should dominate, okay, like that's as bad as it sounds, that's a step forward for this defense. So each feather in the cap or each progress step, and that's what they're trying to do. That's why the cliche is always there. We're taking it a day at a time. We're just trying to get it better, rep by rep, day by day, because you actually need to do that. If you don't improve upon what you did the day before, and you that's your best day, well, guess what? You're not going to be in it at the end of the year. Now, we will get a chance to see, however long it is, Deshaun Watson and some of the starters. It was announced, and Deshaun Watson said it himself. Then Coach Stefanski finally said it. He's been being asked about it since he kind of indicated that the second preseason game and the fourth preseason game, we'd probably see the starters. He never officially said that until today. Deshaun Watson will be there. Outside of the I word, and I knock on wood still, even though I didn't say it, what really should be the goal coming out of this game for whatever group of starters plays?
First and foremost, come out of it healthy. That's the most important thing.
Yeah. I said outside of the I word.
Oh, that was one. I was like, oh, I don't know what you're talking about. But
You clearly don't listen all day long. I stole that from somebody. Sorry.
Yeah. Other than that, you just want to see him look smooth and not all. You don't want to see him throwing in the ground anymore like he started out last year. You want to see all right, this dude's clearly been working his butt off all season, and he's taking a bigger step.
We've already had the S-bomb dropped tonight, so you can
I know. I almost said it, but I'm cool.
I don't even care about that because that just made the whole story.
Yeah. Yeah, I just want to see the offense run smooth. I'm not the defense. I think it's gonna all the play calling is gonna be bland. They've already said it. You're not going to see what they're releasing and what they're doing. Probably see a
some
million
screen
more
passes.
screen passes, but just run a nice smooth offense.
I mean, the
I don't
videos
care
that we've
less
seen,
if they win or lose.
the videos that we've seen, and you can only take that with a grain of salt because again,
Oh, you know what I want to see? Cade York make his field goals. That's what I want to see. I love Cade York, but I got to see him start making your field goals, bro.
So here's what's weird. I tend not to go back and watch film or whatever. Like I even though I have the games recorded, like I'm not one of those people that watch them again and again to break it down because that's not a sport that I'm going to be fully breaking down. But if there's something I can break down in the game of football, it's kicking. And I actually went back and I saw the video on Twitter and I scrolled across I did it extra slow-mo for myself to see like when the foot planted and all of that. Yes, I'm a nerd like that. Like I will do that. I could tell, and it's no excuse. I could tell the plant foot did not plant right, slid out on that turf when they're practicing on natural grass all the time. There is a thing there, but that's why your equipment staff and you better know when you go out there for pregame warmups, are these cleats working or not? And if you're feeling something, even something off, you should be changing those cleats when you're changing surfaces that you're normally used to. So the plant foot kind of slid out, but I'm still surprised that ball went right because when he struck it and started going end over end, it was going dead center. And I don't know what he did. He must have sliced underneath it and knuckled the ball partly because when you do that, that's when it starts out where you want it to go. And then automatically just in the middle of the air, just
does whatever,
just does whatever, just takes a wrong direction. I've shot a soccer
breaking
ball.
Down kicks with Kevin Arnold.
I've shot a soccer ball where that's done that many times. I thought, oh my gosh, I struck this so well. And then why is that going right? Why is that? Oh, that's a field goal. That's not
one of these days. I was watching that game, that soccer game. We have to discuss how the hell do you soccer players bend the ball like you do? It is incredible. I didn't realize how much
you wrap your foot around the ball.
It's insane. Y'all are crazy.
And I mean, I don't.
You're bending it like this,
bending like Beckham,
and you're hitting it in the air,
like
but
Messi,
you're bending it down and up, like whatever.
Messi's been doing recently.
Yeah.
Like scoring every time that he's playing.
But sorry to get off.
It's all right.
Subject.
It's all right. I mean, we're talking kicking, so you know.
Yeah.
I mean, now,
what did you want to see, Peter?
Yeah. What do you want to see?
Let's get back to the subject.
I just want to see the fundamental things.
Yeah.
Like not, the pass is caught. Right. If I don't care if it's a screen pass, if it's, a simple, slant, whatever, catch the ball. I agree with you with the field goals. I want to see that's something. I think that's probably one of the more realistic plays that they're going to run because you're going to have pressure now in the regular season. You're going to have probably more pressure coming in. So he better hit every kick.
Yeah.
Another thing I want to not see this time is what's going on? What are we supposed to do?
Right.
Am I supposed to go here? I know no more of the confusion in the DB with the DBs.
You know what? I put that
blown coverage.
Thank you so much for bringing up that painful memory. I put that out of
we had to send Peter to counseling and I'm sorry.
I don't mean to add to your guys' concerns, but there was a report that there was a play.
Yeah, I know. I heard about it.
Okay. Yeah.
There
was some looking at each other.
Hey, you could
defensively.
Get that out in training camp.
Yeah, that's what practice is for. Now, there's different calls to this stuff, so I can understand confusion right now. While the defense is still ahead of the offense, we've seen actually competitive days between both of them, and you would still expect there's a new defensive scheme. So, and some of these players have been doing just the Brown scheme, the Joe Wood scheme for the last few years, and other people have come from other teams. So everybody, while they're doing similar stuff to what you've done in the past, there's different calls for it. So getting that communication down, I'd rather have that in practice than a game where you're up 13 and I'm not going back there. But for me, you kind of nailed the key word for me, smooth. I want to see Deshaun. I want to see this offense. However long they're out there, I want it to look smooth. Yes, I don't know who's going to play for the Commanders, but they're going to have a really good defensive line this year. And they have a really good defensive scheme. You're going against someone else. Finally, these starters are going to go against someone else. just looks smooth. It doesn't.
You ever seen Tom
score,
Brady in a
you-
preseason game? He just methodically just boop, 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 boop,
Yeah.
boop, touchdown.
Well,
That's what I want to see. Doop, 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 doop. Nice smooth plays. Let's get a completion here.
whether they
completion
get
here,
a touchdown or
completion
a
here.
score or not,
Getting just in scoring position,
I
real
wanna
easy.
Yeah, I want to see I want to see a smooth drive put together. And if it stalls, it stalls. They're still working out a lot of things. They're changing the offense from what it was, anyways. Stefanski's changing his own offense to open it up for Deshaun Watson, so he's got to get used to it too. So I just want to see it be smooth. Whether they come out as a winner or a loser, just please don't overreact. I know I'm telling people what to do right now, and we don't usually do that. Just the overreactions to a preseason game. This is going to be a process.
You mean putting is it DTR into the Hall of Fame already?
Yes.
Is that the overreaction?
I love DTR, but DTR is in the position he should be. Third string quarterback, possibly contend for the second at best. Deshaun Watson is your quarterback. However you feel about him, however I feel about him personally and off the field stuff, he is the quarterback for the team we root for.
Oh, I got another one. Man, it just popped into my head. I want to see Demetric Felton take that third string running back role, friend of show, and
He's
just
got the opportunity now.
Yeah, because now he's just running back, and I think that's best for him.
And Jerome Ford is injured, so he's
Exactly.
going to be getting more of the
And I want to
strings.
see him take advantage of that opportunity. I really root for this kid. He's hardworking. He's a good kid, and I just hope he has a great preseason
Because
game.
I would love to have him on the show again, so we can
Mhm.
then consider him friend of show. So you got to have him on twice to be friend of the show. That's the rule that I've heard. This unwritten rule. I don't know
Yeah,
whether we believe it or not.
soon to be friend of show.
Soon to be friend of show. Mecca Don and Demetric Felton.
Yes.
We go to break one final time here tonight. What are we going to talk about next? I have no freaking clue. But hey,
Yeah, we probably should have thought about that.
we
but
probably should have.
this is sometimes when the best stuff happens.
So what will happen? Tune in to find out. This is the Voice of the Land, the Big Play Network.
Are you looking for a career in manufacturing? Vector Technical has you covered. Vector Technical is a 28-year-old staffing firm that is partnered with some of the biggest and the best companies throughout Northeastern Ohio. The recruiters at Vector Technical will coach you through the entire job process and will help you land an opportunity that you are truly excited about. Vector does not add any additional fees and offers benefits as well as free online skills training through Penn Foster. To learn more, visit www.vectortechnicalinc.com and make sure to check out our job board to see a full list of our current opportunities and apply.
You know, sometimes you don't necessarily prep the way you want to for a show, and sometimes it works out because things just come up out of the blue that you need to talk about. And in the break, we'll go a little behind the curtain here. Usually we don't do this. The stuff we talk about in the break stays in the break, but not this time because randomly Jay turns to me and he goes, by the way, I'm Kevin Arnold. He's always positive. Jay, that's Peter Tulp. I haven't done it. We have names going across the bottom. If you're listening to the audio, I am Kevin Arnold. You are.
Always positive, Jay.
And you are.
Peter Tellep.
Audio.
Thank you very much. He turns to me and he goes, do you ride roller coasters? And I said, yeah, like I'm afraid of heights and I deal with motion sickness, but yeah, I ride roller coasters. I love roller coasters. I just take my Dramamine. And he goes, you know, they really give me, and last experience I had, I haven't done it in a while because it gives me really bad vertigo, but I want to try it again. I want to see if it's just a bad day. What are these super pills you were mentioning in the break?
It's like Dramamine. It's just strong Dramamine. It's really strong Dramamine, more or less. I got from the doctor.
It does knock you out.
It makes me pretty sleepy.
So how do you stay up to ride the rides?
And just bear through it.
That's why, like, I get the less drowsy Dramamine, like the one in between. There's the regular Dramamine, less drowsy, and then there's these crappy ginger pills that don't work at all. That's why I got sick going on our honeymoon to Disney, because I was riding the plane. I didn't bring the Dramamine. I forgot to bring it with us or left it in the wrong bag, put it in the bag that was in being checked for the flight. It was going all the way to Orlando. And so in the airport, I bought all they had was the natural Dramamine, which are the ginger pills. I'm like, okay, but like people say like that's good for you, so this should work too. Nope. Had to have Jana go on her Google phone, go to Google Translate for our Uber driver, translate, my husband's about to puke, please pull over on the side of I think Interstate 4 down in Florida. Yes, I literally got sick because I took the wrong Dramamine. But I have to do the less drowsy because I don't want to be falling asleep either. I've taken the real one, and boy, did I feel drowsy.
Yeah. So that's my goal is I got to get back on there and try it one more time and just hope that maybe that day I was just going to get vertigo no matter what. And I was on the brink and whatever happened. But I asked, what are your favorite coasters from Cedar Point or anywhere really? Because I've only been to Cedar Point and Jugga Lake.
Peter, do you ride roller coasters?
I sure do.
We didn't even ask you.
I do.
Okay. What are your favorite coasters?
Ooh, see, it's hard because like Cedar Point, there's so many great ones.
Mm-hmm.
I love Magnum because I've ridden that so many times, but it really kind of beats you up.
Yeah, and lucky you
see what happened recently on the Magnum.
Yeah.
They got stuck and they had to actually get off the cart and
go
walk down.
Yeah.
That would be scary.
That would suck.
And what's funny is like every time I've gone on a ride that has those stairs next to them,
you look at them like,
I hope I'm not
that
on here where I have to walk down those stairs.
Well,
because heights are going to come into play.
Yeah.
If I have to walk down these stairs and not be flying.
Yeah, definitely. Millennium Force is great. I hadn't ridden that in a long time because every time we'd go there, the line was always like really long. And we were fortunate enough to get fast passes when we went earlier this year for one day, and that was so much fun. We went on that a couple times. The boys ride them like crazy, but Steel Vengeance and Maverick are fantastic.
I heard the Steel Vengeance is absolutely amazing.
What about Valraven?
Valraven is good. I like Valraven. I don't like Iron Dragon because I'm a little bit bigger, and to get me in the seat that harness. The last time I actually think they bruised a rib.
The Iron Dragon. You're worried about the harness?
Well, no.
How about the ride blows?
But I mean, I literally felt like I bruised a rib in that. So
that's how Mean Streak used to be.
Dude, the Mean Streak, if you had to like get your tooth, it was loose, and you were like, "Oh, I got to get it out, Mom."
Mm-hmm.
Oh, honey, ride the Mean Streak. You'd be like, "Okay, I lost all of them, but and you got a side headache with it too, possible bruised rib."
Down at what was it, Universal? Because we were down the Velasa coaster.
I heard that one's good.
It is that and the Hulk. Those were both great.
Yeah.
But if you want to go theme thing, the Guardians of the Galaxy coaster.
Yeah.
At Disney.
I've heard like mixed reviews on that, and I don't know why.
Oh no, it's
for some people I think it's the music that like the song that gets played for their car versus others. I don't know. I saw like a lot of like the Disney ride hack people that are on TikTok and stuff saying that like it's all about the song and stuff. Like
I don't even remember what song played when I went on it because the coaster was just so amazing.
Yeah,
because that's the difference between Cedar Point and Disney where it's a theme ride.
Right.
It's much more immersive, but yeah, that was a great one.
The ones I don't like are the ones where like the car just stays there and it's just a screen that makes you feel like you're going, and there's a lot of that at
I never rode anything like that, guys.
Yeah.
Well, Soar was kind of cool. That was it.
I mean, Soarin' is definitely good,
really,
but I mean it's different because it's a huge screen and like the
it's
apparatus that you're put in, kind of
Jay's like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, I'm like,
trust me, it's if you ever get a chance,
cool.
It feels like you're going into
like you're just flying around the world.
Yeah. Like,
what's your favorite coaster, Kevin? Or coasters?
Well, so those are kind of my least favorite. I love the theme ones where you feel like you're moving. Rise of the Resistance is
that is a great one.
Absolutely phenomenal. And it's an experience. If you're a Star Wars fan, it is an experience you need to take on. I did not do the Millennium Falcon ride because if it's just, I was told that was just a screen, but then other people said it's not quite that, but
it was good. It was not as good as Rise of the Resistance.
Okay. But in terms of actual coasters, I've only ever been really to Cedar Point. I was at Jogga Lake, but it's been a while.
Is there anywhere else you really need to go when it comes to coasters?
Big Dipper was fantastic at Jogga Lake, but
the best was the end when you'd be like, out of your seat. Out of your seat.
Yeah.
I always love that.
Well, that's the thing that kills me on Magnum because it's just like you're just beat up at the end there.
Can you, on the second hill of the Millennium Force, when you go over the crest, can you keep your arms in the air and let yourself come out of that seat 200 feet in the air? I can't.
No,
I'm a wimp. I'm like, and I grab on real quick and then I let go as we're going down the hill.
So and you guys know that like I'm afraid of heights. I love the Millennium Force and I love Maverick.
Mhm.
Those are my two favorites. I haven't had a chance to try Steel Vengeance and some of the new stuff yet. I know Top Thrill 2 will be a little bit different. I didn't go on that because of heights and because it was so quick. Like I want an experience. I want to be on a ride for a little bit. But anytime you go up a big hill like Millennium Force or even Maverick or one of those rides, I have to close my eyes. I'm not someone that's going to look out and enjoy the views.
I'll give you this. I don't care what you do. The fact that you're afraid of heights and you still go on there.
Yeah, really.
I don't care. That's
So, real quick story before you give yours. This was a stupid idea, but we were in high school at the time. We would march there. Our swing band would march there every single year in May, towards the end of the year, right before Memorial Day. And then we would get to ride the rides. We'd be there all day long. It was fantastic. That way, I always had a year. In that year, I knew I at least had one trip to Cedar Point. I was going to get a chance to go to Cedar Point. Well, my buddy and I decided, because he saw that I closed my eyes going up hills, and he's like, have you ever thought about closing your eyes on an entire roller coaster?
I've done it. It's wild.
He's like, let's close our eyes going up, open them right at the top of the main hill of Millennium Force, and then close them the rest of the way. Boy, was I messed up because I didn't have the Dramamine at the time. I fully regretted that. I'd have to try it using actual Dramamine this time. But if you want a really trippy experience and you're not into drugs, which you shouldn't be, close your eyes on Millennium Force.
I've done it on quite a few rides. This is before I got
Land does
vertigo.
not condone any stupid actions. Your actions are your own, and you cannot blame the voice of the land.
No.
Thank God to get the PSA out there.
Whew. Yeah, my favorite, it was for the longest time, it was Millennium Force. Loved it. Love the fact that they don't have to go up the hills all like ding, ding, ding. It's just right up there real fast. And if you ride that last cart, it pulls you right over the edge. That's great. I'll never forget the experience, though, when it was the first time riding at night. And it was the second hill. I could see it because they have the little lights in the top. And around those lights were just thousands of the mayflies. So I just ducked my head below the people in front of me. And the whatever girl was in front of me, she had her hands up, smiling, laughing. After the ride, she turned around and looked, and her whole face was just covered in bugs. I was like, oh, I'm never riding that at night again.
Did you guys ever catch the camera right?
All the time. I know. I've rode this ride so many times. I know where all the cameras are.
No, I never do. I never pay attention.
Did I ever show you guys the picture from our Jen and I's?
No, but you'll have to send it to us when you get home.
I'm gonna send it to you guys when I get home. Like, it was the only time I ever caught the camera right, and I'd never rode this ride before. It was a 7 Doors mine ride. Never rode it before, and somehow caught it right. And it is the absolute perfect picture to sum up me and Jana and I's relationship as well, just like the face that I'm making and all that stuff. But here's an experience that whenever it comes back, Splash Mountain that's closed down now, they're doing it like, I forget, not Princess and the Frog. Tiana is the princess. Can't remember the name.
Something.
Something. While the fireworks are going off at night, if you are riding and going over the hill on Splash Mountain, boy, that is one spectacular view.
That's probably crazy.
Best fireworks out there. Disney World.
Finish this off. My other favorite ride is It's Gone. I hated the wait, but it was a thrill like no other. Is that Top Thrills Dragster. I only rode it a couple times because every other time I was in a damn line, I'd get close and it would break down. Yeah. But when I rode it, that was crazy how fast you just go. You don't even realize you're 400 something feet in the air because it's over so quick. But yeah, that was amazing. And I can't wait to see what it feels like to ride the new one when they got 2 hills. They shoot you up once, shoot you up twice, and then they finally go over the third time. That's going to be great. And my other one, and I don't think gets a lot of respect because I love how smooth it is. And I love the harness is real.
Raptor?
Nope. I can't ride the Raptor.
It used to be smooth. It's not smooth anymore.
It doesn't matter. If I ride the Raptor even before I had vertigo, I would get so dizzy from that damn ride. Like, I can't do spinny rides. Like, I'll just puke, and it's just no fun. But it's Gatekeeper. I love the Gatekeeper. It is so underrated. And when you're riding, dude, you just feel like you're floating in the air because that harness, like, kind of like moves with you. You know what I'm saying? Oh, I love the gatekeeper. I
Wow.
was Maverick. It's honorable mention though, because I love going fast. I have a need for speed.
And I like that, like coming back down in 95
Mhm.
degrees. Like I was one of the first 3,000 people to ride that ride.
First time I was the first year at Road, I was in line. It was like 4 hours long. Halfway through the line, a bird pooped in my head, right on my face, like right here. To have one of my friends scream it and point at me, oh my God, a bird pooped on your head. Everyone's eyes are on me. I'm just like, I hate you. It's like, but I waited so long. I just took my shirt off, wiped it all clean, and put my shirt on with it all over my shirt. I'm like, I don't care. I'm staying in this line. I'm riding this ride. Rode the ride, took my shirt, threw it away after I bought my new Cedar Point shirt that I paid way too much money for.
Hey, but we're getting into the best time to go too. Like if you have a day off, you don't have kids and stuff, the schools are going back into session. Because I rode gatekeeper with my cousin one day twice, and we just walked right on because the lines were so short during the day.
One of these days, you want to go, I'll head out there in a separate car with Tiffany or something. And
you already know my work's getting into the busiest time of the year.
I've got a pass.
He's got a pass. I'm going with him.
Well,
see you later. You work.
All right.
Well, Friday.
All right. Peter, I need you to make me a promise right now. If you have that pass next year, I need to go.
Oh, I'll have. Yeah, we get the whole family gets gold passes every year.
All right. Well, I need to go.
I was supposed to be at
Sorry,
Cedar
Jan,
Point
I'm
today.
going to Cedar Point.
Yep.
Well, I was supposed to be there today. So
guys, night out.
you were talking about the swing band. Mentor was performing today.
Oh.
But so I was supposed to go, but Joe wasn't feeling good, so I ended up staying home, and Debbie went. So,
hey, Kevin, guess what we did?
We went overtime again.
Oh, right.
Oh, wow.
Or when you're having fun, it's great. It just flies.
Yes, it does. But it's time for us to get out of here because I got to go take care of my son. I got to go help out Jana with our son at home. Hopefully, you guys have a great night. If you're watching us on replay, again, tweet at us at Kevin and 7 at Always Positive J at LPV Productions and at LV at VTL_pod. If you want to have sports conversations, we will do it. You guys probably don't believe us, but we will do it throughout the week. Catch the audio on Google, Spotify, and Apple. For Always Positive J and Peter Tellep, I am Kevin All, reminding all of you, don't let anyone ever tell you it's just a game. We truly love you all 3,000.
Don't talk about it, be about it.
And live life, all gas, no breaks. This is the Voice of the Land, the Big Play Network.